Hopefully I can do this video without being too noisy. A lot of roosters and things like that. But today we're going to talk about something. My hair is wet. It's been raining. We're going to talk about something here in the Philippines that patience and understanding. You need to have this when you come into the Philippines. A lot of people don't really realize that you really do have to have this and be patient on everything. So we're going to talk about a story. Patience and understanding. 99% of the Filipino people here are really nice. The culture itself is really nice. You can actually go anywhere and do anything you want, and everybody's going to treat you with respect pretty well, as long as you respect them and don't cause any trouble that way. But I do want to tell you a story about the gentleman that came here, made a scene at a bank. It was an American. He made a scene at a bank because apparently something happened to his card, and he decided that he was going to get somebody on the phone and get his card. Well, how they do the banks here is they go inside once a day, maybe 2 times a day. A truck comes around and they load the machines. It's a company, and they're responsible for them. So the banks, I don't know if they really own the ATMs themselves, but they have a company that fills them and takes care of them instead of the employees do it. And I understand why. It's like the company that goes around that carries the money, and they load the machines and they fill them back up, take care of any problems with it. And they do it usually in the evening at about 5, 6 o'clock, and they go around, they have a route, and they go to all the banks. They have access to inside the bank. If they need to go inside the bank, they have keys to each bank. Lane Bank has their own group that guy does, and then there's other banks that have their own setup. Sometimes the bank may fill it up themselves and have a key to the ATM, but this particular bank did not have a key. So he went ballistic and ended up in a situation where they called the police. And anytime you do something like that here in the Philippines, you've got to be aware that it's not going to end up very good for him. Depending on your mindset, depending on your thought, he's been here probably about 60 days. And depending on his mindset, he's married to the Filipina. So he can go come anytime he wants. But this particular visit, he found himself in a bad situation. So the police department told him, the guy at the police told him, says basically, just calm down. We'll get your card. No matter what, we'll get your card. Well, apparently it was not fast enough for him. So they told him straight up, you have to be patient. He says, I'm patient every day here, and it seems like it's just not working out. And I have to say, you do sometimes have to bite your tongue, and you do sometimes have to walk away, and you do sometimes have to just realize. A prime example of something is when we went to go get something for the car. We ordered it, it came in. We go to town to get pieces, parts. It'd be in on Thursday. They didn't come on Thursday. Be here on Monday. Didn't come in. So you have to constantly be aware that things are not like they are in the West. You're not going to get the things when you want it at the time you want it. But this particular guy, what happened? They ended up told him, this is basically, if you just don't stop yelling, don't stop doing what you're doing, you're going to end up down to jailhouse. And you don't want to go to the Philippine jailhouse, he said. You don't want to go down there. Guy realized that he was at his limit and said, okay, I'll calm down. But during him calming down, he kept murmuring and saying things. The guy told him, says, listen, if you don't mind, we'll get the team here, do it. It'll be a few hours. Well, he wanted his card back. And apparently it was not fast enough for him. So he ended up down at the police station. And they just basically didn't put him in the cell with all the other Filipino. But apparently they put him in a room, and set him down in a room. The people with the ATM availability coming there, well, it was 5, 6 hours where they were going to be there, because we're not in Kansas anymore here. You're not in Kansas, and you can't demand anybody do something. They do things way differently. And you got to be prepared. If you don't have any money or don't have any funds or don't are prepared, you better have another credit card. It's just a regular credit card from U.S. If he didn't have that other credit card, he would have probably, if you had another credit card, he'd probably been fine. But apparently it was his only card that he had, and that's the reason he was upset about it, and he was at his wit's end about it. He decided that he decided after he was there he should calm down, and he apologized to everybody and asked if he could leave. The bank was not willing to let him leave at the current time because they were afraid he was going to go down and cause a big, ruckus again. So they kept him until the bank closed, and apparently he got his card back. The moral of this story is, if you're going to be here, patience and understanding is something that you really need to think about. And being patient is something that is hard for me to do, and I find myself fighting that myself and trying to decide what is best for me sometimes. Like, if I'm going in somewhere, I say, all right, be calm, because you never know how it's going to end up. Probably anywhere from 70 to 80% of the time it's fine. It's the other 20% it's not. You're not going to get what you want when you want it. It may not be available. Shout out to my Mr. John E. That came from Kansas, and that's the reason I said you're not in Kansas anymore, Kansas City. And he said that he apologized to everybody concerned, but he did realize after he was there in the jailhouse, it hit him that he better keep his mouth shut. That's one thing you don't want to do, and you don't want what they get a smudge. They call it a smudge. Once you get a smudge on your finger, the NBI picks it up. Once the NBI picks that up, you can no longer stay in the Philippines. If you get a smudge on your finger, or someone has a problem with you, it's so easy to get a problem against someone here. All you got to do is go down to Barangay and put a smudge on them. And you should not be in that situation. You should always be calm and not worry about it, because things like that happen, and you got to be smart about it. You really do. You got to think right. You really do have to think right. You're not in the United States. You're in another country, and you have to be calm, and you have to relax and not worry about things. And if the roosters are too loud for you, move somewhere else. And if the noise is too loud for you with the karaoke, move somewhere else, or go back to Kansas, right? That's what I told him. I said, you might be better off back to Kansas. So he's going back to Kansas. He said, I can't deal with it here. I get too stressed out here. And it can stress you. Thank you for always watching my videos. Thank you for always coming on our channel. We appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. We got a GOMO video coming up, and Ruth is doing the video now. It's a video about new internet. High five.